Say guys, it's Jim Bounds at Motorhome Rehab Ranch, still in Utah. It's the weekend, it's Sunday morning. Happy Sunday. Not at school today, so I can wear shorts and do what I want to do. Today, what I want to do is I want to work on my motorhome. You know, driving in here with Mark and Jason, just like any 50-year-old machine, things went wrong, things we need to fix. And it's always that way. When you get off the trip, you find things that didn't work and you work on them. Well, a couple things we found out. One, as you followed, my fuel tanks were just so full of rust after sitting for 2.5 years during COVID. We put in a cleanable fuel filter, 100 micron cleanable fuel filter before the pump, which probably saved everything. We started out cleaning that filter every 40 miles. At the end, we got up to about 100 miles to clean the filter. But after letting the coach sit for a couple of weeks and all the stuff went down to the bottom, I drove it here to Holiday, which is about 40 miles from where the Bonneville School is in Ogden. I had to stop 3 times to clean the filter just to get here, which means my tanks are really full of garbage. Okay. Now, one thing you need to do to protect you and your motor and your generator and everything like that from rust in your tanks is go get a Wix number 33689, I believe the number is. It is a inline 3/8 barb 10 micron filter. You say, well, 10 microns, that's the rust. Most filters are 100 microns. That just gets out the boulders and stuff like that. And we were able to continue to run just getting the boulders out of it. But after the cleanable filter, we had this 33689 filter, which I'm probably going to have to change too, because it's probably half full of 100 micron and less garbage. But we're still going to keep running. So I'm in a spot here. Today I'm going to jack the coach up. I'm going to put stands under it, and I'm going to change my gas tanks. Pull out both of those nasty tanks. I've got to put the fuel somewhere. So Monday we're hoping to get a barrel, because my guess is I have over 40 gallons of nasty fuel in this motorhome. So we got to get that fuel out. Could still be used, could be filtered out and still be used. But personally, as much hell as I went through to get here with that stuff, I want that stuff gone. We've had a single tank, one single 25-gallon tank lined. Very expensive. It was almost $500 to have this thing professional line, but that's what you've got to do. If you've got a steel tank and there's junk in it, you've got to have it cleaned. You got to have it lined. And it's funny, I brought 2 aluminum tanks down here with me. Didn't get to any of them. Plumber's pipes leak. I'm the one that gets nothing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jack this thing up today, take my time and do it. Yeah, I'm on rocks. I'll show you how to do that. And then I'm going to pull these 2 tanks out, and I'm going to put in a single tank, which means I'm only going to have 25 gallons, which means every 150 miles I'm going to stop and fill up. But you know, that's not that bad anyway. I'm forcing myself to smell roses, so I'm okay with that. In the future, I, of course, want to carry more than 25 gallons, and I will. But to get home, I've got to have a clean tank. I've got to have good fuel delivery. And if all I can do it with is 25 gallons, well, then so be it. Another thing that I found out on the way here, my prototype 4-bag system here needed some love. Adam at Bonneville Garage welded me in this plate right here and attached it down here to the bogey pin, or to the plate of the bogey pin, which kept this movement this way, which I needed. And then we replumbed it, running the lines away from everything, because we were starting to chafe one of the airlines. You got to make sure that your airlines are not on a tight spot, where vibration or anything like that will cause a hole in them. Another thing we found out is I I lost my rear brakes. It's good that master cylinders have two wells. It has one for the front brakes and one for the rear brakes. Now in our system, if you open your brake master cylinder, and I'll show you this, the rear well are your front brakes, your two disc brakes. The front well, the larger of the two, is for the four rear brakes. And mine is completely empty. Why is that? Well, I have to admit that before I left Orlando, I saw one of my steel lines was wet. Wasn't dripping, but it was wet, which told me that it had a leak in it. Sure enough, it did. And sure enough, it leaked out all the fluid in the rear brakes. And sure enough, coming here, we had front brakes only, which was not a good thing. But again, it's good that that DOT saw fit to have two wells. So if one brake fails, you don't lose all your brakes. Now I had a 62 Lincoln that had a single well. If you've got an old car, take a look at your brake master cylinder and see if there's one well or two wells. If there's one well, you got to understand that if you have a leak like I have on this, you will lose all of your brakes. Not just half of them, you'll lose all of them. They thought about it and said, no, we got to have a better brake system than that. So our system today has two wells. And I was able to get here. I had a lot of lead time on the car in front of me, and we didn't do anything crazy. But in this opportunity where I'm going to jack this thing up, I'm going to pull this wheel off. I know exactly where it's leaking. I'm going to pull this wheel off, and I'll do it with you today. I'll show you how we're doing this. And I'm going to change that brake line. And then I'm going to flush the system and bleed it and get all 6 brakes for my trip home. All right. So if you can just follow with me and watch what I'm going to do today. I'm going to do videos, several videos. And in that I'm not using Chad the burner phone, which I could put it in pause and then come back off. Makes editing a lot easier. I'm using the iPad here. So I'm going to pause this in a second, and then it's not going to pause, it's going to stop. Then I'll do another video as to the next step and another video. So this post could have 3 or 4 videos in it. So watch them, each one of them in order, so you can get a full extent on what's happening here. So if you lose your brakes, if you lose half your brakes, this is what you need to do. First thing, you touch every steel line, you look at it. And if you see a line that is wet, you don't have to see drips, but if it's wet, you've got to know it's leaking. Okay, a brake system has high pressure. So at high pressure, when you have something that's just got a small leak, it will leak. It will blow out because brake system has got to be a sealed system. All right? So come with me. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to jack this thing up. I'm going to secure it so I can go under there and pull out my gas tanks. And while it's up in the air, we're going to fix my brakes too. All right? Good. Well, look, come with me and let's see how it goes. All right.